Welcome back. Boeing and Alaska Airlines both denying any legal responsibility for injuries allegedly caused to dozens of passengers after a door plug blew out of a 737 MAX 9 jet during a flight back in January. Now, nearly 3 months after the incident, 4 passengers are filing a new lawsuit against both companies. The lawsuit seeking punitive, compensatory, and general damages for alleged negligence, product defect liability, and failing in its duty to protect passengers from harm.
We have some of it reading in part, quote, due to these defects, omissions, and failures, a sudden loss of the left med plug occurred. Plaintiffs and each of them thereafter suffered psychological injuries, emotional distress, including but not limited to terror, fear of death or serious injury, worry, anxiety, flashbacks, and fear of flying. Huey Tran was sitting right behind the row where the door plug blew out on the Alaska Airlines flight. He's suing Boeing and Alaska Airlines, and Timothy LaRanger is his attorney. Thank you both for coming on. We do appreciate that. Before we dive into this lawsuit, and we want to do that if we can, Huey, let's go to you here. Can you take us back to that day? I know it's been several months, but leading up to this flight, the moment that this has happened while you were on the flight, and how this is impacting you today, Huey.
Yes, we boarded the plane and it just took off. Everything was going fine, just as normal. And usually right when you take off, that's when you kind of start getting settled in and trying to get some rest. I had just closed my eyes when I heard something flying away from the plane in a whoosh. Opened my eyes and the door was already gone. It happened so fast. The air started rushing in, extremely cold, extremely fast, extremely loud. It was very terrifying. The mask that came down, immediately reached for my seatbelt to make sure I was tight in, and my hands, was grabbing onto my seat and trying to hold on. At that point, I thought we were gonna die. The plane, the hole is so big, as you can see from the video, is from all the way from the top all the way to the floor, as big as it could possibly be. I didn't know what else was going to start falling apart. It was, they said it was 10-15 minutes to take a turn around and land, but it felt like forever in the air, to be honest. The fear, the shock, it was very terrifying. You could see the city lights flowing. We didn't know if they were going to try to land on the ground, on the freeway or an open patch or whatnot, because we needed to land right away. So it was extremely scary.
No doubt about it. I can't even imagine what it was like. Thankfully, there was no one in that exact row, but Huey, you were right behind it. What made you grab your cell phone and actually start filming it?
Actually, once I sat down a little bit, I tried to reach my phone because I realized we weren't like at maximum altitude, and I wanted to send some messages out to my loved ones to let them know that I love them, and I thought that this was it. I just wanted to let them know, I was so terrified, and I was hoping that by the time, even if we crashed or whatnot, that the phone would get into a range that would get signal to get the message out. And then at that point, it didn't have any signal, so I realized the phone was still in my hand, and I started recording. That's when I motioned to my friend next to me for him to also try and send something out. We couldn't hear each other because the sound of the wind was so loud. So I motioned for him to call his parents or try to message them. He gave me this blank stare. He said he made this motion that the phone had been sucked right out of his hands. He had nothing left. You can see on the seat in the video that there's no cushions or anything left on that seat. I was lucky that I had my phone in the little pocket because everything was gone, sucked right out the window.
Oh yeah, you're right. Even the tray table sucked off as well.
Correct. Yeah, nobody around there had their phone left because it was just gone.
I want to, wow, is all you can say listening to your story play out like that, and just thanking God that this plane was able to land. Timothy LaRanger, the attorney here, you're listening to your client. Clearly, fear, anxiety, trying to make what would be final phone calls from this plane in a moment like this. In terms of a lawsuit, how strong is this case?
This is a very strong case. The information that has even been released to the public indicates that the door plug was installed without bolts that would have held it in place. So very basically, it's a clear case for failure to do proper assembly of the aircraft or maintenance of the aircraft.
You know, we had another attorney who's representing some other passengers on board earlier this week, and I asked him about this sort of voucher, $1,500 from Alaska Airlines offered to passengers. Huey, can you comment on that? Did that seem like a fair attempt to compensate the fears that you had?
I mean, I've seen them compensate people for more than that, just trying to switch to a different plane because they overbooked, right? So, no, it was nowhere enough to. That was the biggest fear of my life ever, that I wasn't gonna make it. So there's no way that that can compare. They had a hotline to try and reach out to people and call. I tried to call in to get some information, but even the response was very scripted and very non-emotional. Like even the information they were trying to give me, that she had to read off a pamphlet, the way it sounded. They just did not take it seriously even after the accident. So I was very disappointed. And so no, definitely not.
Timothy, we're learning the FBI is now telling passengers who were on board this flight that they might be part of a criminal investigation, and this is in a letter to them. A victim specialist from the federal agency's Seattle office writing, quote, "I'm contacting you because we have identified you as a possible victim of a crime. So I'm curious to know, has the FBI reached out to your client? Has the FBI reached out to you? What is happening here? What do you know about this?"
Sure. All of the people on board, I believe, including my clients, have received that letter explaining that the Department of Justice is doing an investigation, and of course the FBI reaches out. They are the ones who will meet with the clients at some point, meet with all the passengers to get information from them about what happened on the aircraft. But absolutely, FBI has reached out to them, and they are trying to arrange these interviews.
Wow. Huey, again, this investigation underway. Does this impact your future plans to travel on an airplane?
Definitely. It wasn't mentioned, but I was traveling with a group of friends and family, close friends, my godson and his entire family, my best friend. We were there in Oregon to do a little bit of business, as well, a little bit of spending time together. We haven't been able to organize a trip back since. We've all of us have really stayed grounded. My friend sitting next to me was injured at an incident and couldn't work for several weeks. Yes, it's affected a lot of our plans, even our work, because our work involves traveling around to sites, and I even had to tell work I'm staying grounded for a while after this accident. It's very critical for me to go to work, so it can affect how the company uses me, and how important my role and my performance that could be affected, and it's a big problem.
Huey, knowing what you went through, knowing some of the safety issues that have come to light with Boeing specifically, not even as of recent, but so back to 2018, moving forward, whistleblowers coming out about, again, how these planes, the specific ones, were manufactured, or maybe some precautions were ignored. And then we have this FBI letter. Huey, do you feel like you were a victim of a crime?
For the crime aspect, it's hard to comment because that's usually intentional. So I don't know if they have problems internally that's causing somebody to do something criminal. Aside from that, I do feel that they're responsible in some aspect of the process to keep it safe. They have these guarantees or at least these promises when you come on that says safety is their #1 priority, and something in the process is broken down. So not just there internally, but even the agencies that are supposed to monitor them, something has broken down, because definitely, like you said, there's been more and more incidents even after this accident. So something is getting way worse.
Yeah. You know, Timothy, we're short on time. Is there a dollar value that you are placing on your clients' anxiety and fear and emotional distress?
There isn't a figure that we have calculated. That's something for a jury to decide if this case were to go to trial. But certainly all of them have suffered tremendously, as Huey explained. The fear of being in that aircraft when this happened was incredible, and their lives have been changed.
Huey Tron and Timothy LaRanger. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on. Huey, we're glad you survived the plane and you're here with us today to tell your story. It's an important one. We wish you both the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.